So we've been practicing a variety of methods for solving quadratic equations, and we want to then apply the inverse of that process. So if we have the solutions, could we write the quadratic equation in standard form that would have the solutions? So here we know that x is equal to -2, going to the left and right, the square root of 3 over 5. Again, instead of saying left and right, if you say plus minus, that's all right. It's just reminding you you're going in both directions. So you have two solutions. Because they're so similar, it's condensed and written as one. So if we have this as our solutions, how can we undo this to find the equation? Well, if you notice in our solutions, we have a division sign. So how do you undo division? We would use multiplication. So we're going to multiply each side of our equation by 5. Then as we look, we have this -2, which means we're taking away 2. So how do you undo that? Subtraction, we would add 2 to each side. Now we have this going to the left and right, our distance of the square root of 3. So again, when we have a radical, how do you undo that? What's its inverse operation? Well, if we have the square root, to undo it means we have to square each side. So on the left-hand side, we have the quantity 5x plus 2 squared, which means we have 2 of them being multiplied together. And the same idea here on the right-hand side of the equation. We have 2 of these being multiplied together. We know a positive times a positive is a positive. A negative times a negative is a positive. So the sign is not an issue. It's positive. And when we square a square root, they undo each other. And so we just be left with what's underneath the radical, which is 3. So at this point, we just have to take care of the multiplication on the left-hand side of the equation that we talked about. So again, having 2 sets of those quantities being multiplied together will help get us to the equation. Now you also have another option. Before you start multiplying the left-hand side, remember equations in standard form have to equal 0. Right now we have this equal to 3. So to have a 0 there, that means I have to undo this positive 3, which means we could subtract 3 from each side. So why don't we take care of that first? And then we can work on the multiplication of our expression here. So again, if it helps you to write out 2 of them, think about it. You could draw your box. Some of you like using your arrows to help with your distribution. But taking the quantity 5x plus 2 squared, we would end up with 25x squared plus 10x plus 10x plus 4. Then we had the -3 from our previous step equals 0. So now that we've multiplied everything on the left-hand side, we're looking for like terms that we can combine. We see that we have 10x and 10x, which would be 20x here, and we have 2 constants, 4 and a -3, which we can combine, and that would give us a positive 1. So our equation is 25x squared plus 20x plus 1 equals 0.